I'd like to call this Transportation Subcommittee number 1, Department of Motor Vehicles Subcommittee to order. This is our first one of the session. We have a busy docket for this year's General Assembly. We're going to try to move swiftly. I ask that the audience be patient and also to be brief in your statements. That being said, I'd like to call roll, please. Delegate Bagby is virtual. Are you with us, Delegate?
Present.
Excellent. Okay, do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good. All right, we're going to start with Delegate Austin's bill. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I have House Bill 1495. It's the Transportation Network Company's TNC insurance coverage. Mr. Chairman, there's a substitute, and I'd ask the committee to adopt a substitute.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to move the substitute. Do you have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of the substitute being moved forward, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Can you give us a little bit of information on substitute, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, well, let's see who, Emily, you got that information on substitute.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Chairman. The substitute conforms this bill to SB 1216. The substantive difference is it prohibits the TNC insurance from being offset when there is a passenger in the vehicle.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, House Bill 1495 updates the insurance requirements for Transportation Network Company's TNC by lowering the $1 million in uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. The bill's companion is Senate Lucas's SB 1216 and requires the same minimum insurance underinsured motorist coverage as currently required by the law. $30,000 for body injury per person, $60,000 for body injury per accident, and $20,000 for property damage. In 2015, the General Assembly passed one of the nation's first regulatory frameworks for TNCs, allowing companies such as Uber to operate in the Commonwealth. As the industry evolved over time, it has become apparent that this original regulatory framework includes requirements that create an undue burden on TNCs, specifically the $1 million coverage requirement. In the rate instances when the policies are used, the claims are a fraction compared to the policies that these companies are required to maintain. It is important to note this legislation makes no change to requirements that TNCs maintain auto liability coverage at $1 million for death, body injury, and property damage, nor does it propose change to the motor vehicle liability coverage amounts of $50,000 per person and $100,000 per incident for death and body injury, at least $25,000 for property damage. The claims and loss data confirm that this level of coverage is unnecessary and the TNC should be brought in alignment with other passenger carriers. There's no fiscal impact to this bill.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for the patron from the body? That being said, do I have anybody who wants to speak for this item?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, David Skiles with the Vector Corporation representing Uber. We appreciate Chairman Austin bringing this bill forward. I think the Chairman obviously explained the intent of the legislation, and we would appreciate the subcommittee's support. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, anybody else? Anybody to speak against?
Move to report. Second.
Just hold that thought. Anybody on virtual?
No, sir.
Negative? Okay, we have a motion and a second with the substitute. Is that correct?
Yes.
With the substitute. Okay. Please vote on the voter board. Delegate Bagby.
Aye.
Delegate Bagby votes aye. Okay, this bill reports. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Okay, moving forward, I'd like to get Delegate Scott to speak and then get you. Delegate Scott, you have Bill HB 1868. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Speaking to the bill, last year I carried a very similar bill which allowed for the disabled veteran tags to be transferred to the unmarried surviving spouse. That passed unanimously through both chambers and was signed into law. And the response that we got from that was a lot more than I thought. And we decided to take the same steps with all military tags, and that's what this bill does, is it makes it so that all military tags can be transferred to the surviving spouse of any military personnel or retired veteran. And so I would just ask that the committee take a couple different folks in mind when they take action on this. One is a constituent of mine, Mary Mann, who, after the passage of last year's bill, was unable to get the license plate of her deceased spouse transferred into her name, which inspired this as well. And then there's also Lieutenant Commander Kevin Williams, who was the inspiration for last year's bill, who served this country, did a lot of great things. He was the first Black Eagle Scout in the Fredericksburg area. He played an instrumental role in helping to organize the first Black Union Soldier Group, the 33rd USCT, and many other things. And so this bill is to continue to honor that great man and his legacy. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Questions for the patron? Okay. Do we have anybody that wants to speak in favor of this bill? Anybody to speak against? Okay. Just to keep in mind, folks, we're not going to vote on this bill yet because he has the identical bill. I'm going to let Delegate Cordoza, if he has a few words to say about it, and then we'll take action on those two bills and roll one into the other. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is the identical bill. This bill will make it so that most of the military tags are able to be transferred to unremarried spouses of the deceased veteran. So, yes, pretty much the same. It has the support of DMV and the governor. So, okay.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, I'll ask again. Anybody else want to speak for or against? Virtual, no? Do we have anybody in virtual? Okay. So I need a motion to incorporate HB 1868 into HB 2246. I think this is a voice vote, correct?
That's a move. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of incorporating that bill, HB 1868 into HB 2246, say aye. Aye. Those not? Delegate Bagby. Aye. Okay. You've got, we rolled that bill in. We're good to go. And now we're going to have a vote on the HB 2246. I need a motion.
Move to report. Second.
Motion, report. Excuse me.
Mr. Chairman, it will need to be a motion to report with substitute. The substitute will just be to note the incorporation.
So moved.
We have a motion and then a second with substitute. Thank you. Okay, we can vote on the voter board. And Delegate Bagby. Aye. Okay, reports out 7-0. Thank you very much.
thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
All right. Would you like me to go with my next or wait?
You can go ahead. Sure, we got you up there. Why not?
All right. So I also have House Bill 2247. This bill would improve the licensing time for driver improvement clinics and driver training schools. So right now they have to go year to year, renewing at $100. The issue with that is we have so many schools, there's a wait, it hinders the availability. Where if we were to increase it to every 2 years and increase the fee to $150, we would be gaining that money up front, but also saving them on the back end and have constant driving schools available for people to go to. The DMV supports this bill, Governor supports this bill, and I would ask for your support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions for the patron on the body? From the body.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, question.
Go ahead.
DMV and everyone's okay with making it a two-year process?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I believe there some representatives are here if you would like to ask them questions.
If you'd like to go ahead and speak to it. Do we need it? Okay. Anybody wants to speak in favor of this bill? Anybody not? Anybody on virtual?
Move to report.
Report in a second. Okay. Please vote on the voter board. Delegate Bagby. Aye. Thank you. Reports out 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Have a good day. Okay, Delegate O'Rourke, your bill's up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the subcommittee, please give your attention to House Bill 1557. Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, as you're turning to that, long and short, this is addressing modified utility vehicles, commonly called side-by-sides or razors. They are currently allowed to travel on certain local roads if approved by local county ordinance in our state, but they're not allowed statewide. They are allowed in certain other states where they're licensed as regular motor vehicles, and if they're licensed in another state, then under Virginia law, currently they can come into Virginia and drive on all the public highways. So this is just trying to strike a little medium balance between those two, whereby they would be able to drive on certain state roads, not 4 lanes, and under certain speed limits, things of that nature. I have one individual here who would like to speak to the measure, if the subcommittee would so please, but that's the bill in a nutshell.
Thank you, Delegate. Do you have questions for the patron? Okay, if you can have that gentleman come up and speak, please.
This is Rick Long from Spotsylvania County.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The reason I'm here is because the side-by-side world between Virginia, Tennessee, and West Virginia it's crazy because you have all these people traveling, but then you have the state police pulling over the people who are licensed, telling them they can't ride in Virginia, but they can ride in Virginia by law. We're just trying to get it to where we can get our side-by-sides legalized so I can ride in Tennessee. When I'm in West Virginia, I do not need to be titled, but I have to carry insurance. I have a $25,000 side-by-side that I carry $600 a year insurance. I'm just trying to get it done for Virginia to get on board with North Carolina, West Virginia, and Tennessee. More revenue for the county. I don't pay personal property taxes on mine because it's not registered. Don't have to. So the counties need it, the state needs it. Just trying to get it to go.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? Sorry, I can't speak.
Any questions? Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank
Yes,
y'all.
sir. Anybody else? Anybody speak against the bill? Anybody on virtual? Okay, going back to the body. Question. We need action.
We've got a question for, didn't we discuss this similar situation last year in a study? I think we were addressing it, trying to figure out with, and I don't know if it was DMV or state police. I'm not sure where that study is, or if we could.
I'm going to yield back to Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, that's correct. There is a study that is taking place right now, and it'll conclude, I think, in July. Is that correct, Ms. Ford? When is it supposed to be a resolution in July? So therefore, I would suggest that we gently lay this bill on the table and incorporate the intent of this bill and the language into that study and try to find a path forward for this gentleman and the patron of this bill.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'm fine with that action with the understanding, I suppose the chairman will write a letter to DMV, and DMV is telling us it can still be incorporated with their study to be completed by July 1?
Yeah, it's actually a VDOT study, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and so to clarify, that study is numbered HB 66, correct? Did I get that number right, or do you not know? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I would want to include DMV in that study going forward, and my letter will refer that we do that we include DMV, because I think this gentleman has presented some evidence this morning that produces the concern with DMV issue also.
Okay.
So my letter will include DMV in with the VDOT study. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We have a motion to lay on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Please, that's a recorded vote, so we need to go up to the voter board. Okay, Delegate Bagby. Thank you. Lay on the table, 7-0.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very
Chairman,
much.
subcommittee.
Yes, sir. Okay. The moment we've all been waiting for, HB 1469.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Jay Leftwich, carrying House Bill 1469, along with my chief co-patron, Delegate Bagby. So a lot of people have asked me, hey, what about your bill, 1469? And while I'm carrying it, it's really a bill for dealerships, which are independent businesses in every city, county, and town in Virginia, and make up the fabric of those communities. And so the franchise bill was not adopted in Virginia in the mid-1960s, and it was done so to ensure competition and fair pricing for consumers. And I'm sure most of you have heard from perhaps your local dealers in your communities about this bill. The Franchise Act is the only thing that really stands between the manufacturers and those dealerships and overreaching by the manufacturers. And this type of legislation exists in every state in the Commonwealth. And under these laws, Virginia dealers have recourse for termination, coercion, or unfair acts that may exist in that franchise relationship. All right, so again, the primary purpose of this legislation is to enhance competition and choice for consumers. And what's happening across part of the world and maybe coming its way into the United States and to perhaps Virginia is a movement by some manufacturers to seize control of that process, to control pricing and everything from soup to nuts in the sale of a vehicle. Not passing this legislation could eliminate that balance and drive dealerships out of business, which creates jobs in all of our communities. And not only would it control the sale, but it would also impact the financing, trade-ins, and all the ancillary products that are associated with purchasing a vehicle. Without this legislation, I believe that consumers would be on the short end of the stick. And I noted earlier that Delegate Bagby is my chief co-patron, and while this picture shows him smiling and being very nice, I can tell you that's a poker face. You're not want to upset my co-patron. So anyway, we have many of the stakeholders here and present today, some of which you may hear from, others which are just in the audience to observe, but are here to answer questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you. Have questions for the patron? In the body? Okay, we don't. Okay, so who wants to speak to this? Please be brief. I know we have some folks in here, or many folks. If you can come up, be glad to listen to your testimony.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Ralston King with Virginia Auto Dealers Association. I do have Carter Myers here, who's with Carter Myers Automotive, to speak in support of the bill.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today in support of House Bill 1469. The independent automobile franchise dealers have well served Virginia consumers, Virginia employees, and Virginia communities for years. These franchise dealers employ 61,000 people at an average salary of $75,000 a year and contribute $1.2 billion in annual Virginia sales taxes and many millions in income taxes. In addition, this system allows Virginia consumers to benefit from free competition between dealers. Consumers win, Virginia wins, local communities win, and local nonprofits win. Let me take just a minute to share a little example from our company. Just this past Christmas, our local dealership group collected and distributed over 900 bikes to help kids in need get their first form of transportation. We are a fourth generation now family-led automobile business, female-led family automobile business that shares ownership with the employees. Our company became an ESOP company in 1979. Our mission statement is moving lives forward for our people, our customers, and our communities. None of this would have been possible if Ford Motor Company had not awarded my grandfather a Ford franchise in 1924, and if Virginia had not helped preserve this automobile distribution system. I hope you will support 1469 and send it to the Full Transportation Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone who wants to speak against this bill? Anyone on virtual? Okay. I understand we have some amendments that we need to vote on before we vote on the full bill. Do we have those amendments that need to be clarified?
I'm hoping the clerk has them. I don't have a copy with me.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the line amendments are now posted online.
Is anybody can give me a brief layman's terms of what that is? Or not? Is it
Mr.
just technical, or is it?
Mr. Chairman, the line amendments clarify several provisions. There's certain technical ones, like clarifying that payments means payments and benefits, and clarifying that purchase also includes leased. But essentially, they make some clarifying points to some of the protections granted to dealers.
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
So these amendments are actually, this language has been worked out between the dealers and the manufacturers.
Okay.
And I believe that there's pretty much peace in the valley on those changes.
Okay. We need a motion.
Move the amendment.
We have a motion and a second to move the amendments. All those in favor? Sorry. Now we need we all in favor of moving the amendments? Aye.
Aye.
Delegate Bagby? You good? Okay. Now it's in its proper form. I need a motion to report or to not report.
Make a motion.
Motion?
Second.
Motion is second to report. Please vote up on the votable. With amendments. Delegate Bagby? Okay, report's out 7-0 with the amendments. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Committee.
Yes, sir. Okay, I'm going to continue on with our normal numbering process here now that we got everybody back on track. HB 1619, Delegate Wyatt.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and committee members.
Morning.
House Bill 1619 before you is a Virginia State Police cleanup bill. If passed, it would align Virginia and the federal code by eliminating the option for motor carrier trucks periodic annual inspection requirement through a violation-free inspection. This is necessary to ensure continued federal funds flow through the Motor Safety Assistance Program. This will increase the number of inspections annually. Current federal regulations require that commercial vehicles be inspected once every 12 months. Again, the Federal Motor Carrier Administration does not feel that it is appropriate to continue to allow motor carriers to use violation-free roadside inspections conducted by law enforcement officers to satisfy the annual inspection.
Okay, any questions for the patron?
Favorable on the bill.
Thank you. Any questions for the patron? Okay, going to the audience. Any folks that would like to speak to this bill?
There is somebody on.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Ron Maxey, Virginia State Police. We appreciate the patron carrying this bill. And as he mentioned, this does bring Virginia back into compliance with the federal regulations as it relates to the annual inspection requirement, and does remove any jeopardy attached to the federal funds we receive through that program.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else in the audience to speak against or for? Okay, we have one person on virtual. I'd like to bring them in to speak.
Hello, can you hear me, gentlemen?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you for this time to speak. My name is Scott Billing. I'm a 23-year resident of Fauquier County, Virginia, living in the plains directly along Route 17 between the towns of Marshall and Warrenton, which is an 8.5-mile length of road that intersects with many private homes, school buses sharing this road, 3 busy intersecting roads that are very busy, and also three very active equestrian and vending centers along Route 17 as well. We have no weigh stations along Route 17 to provide the proper safety inspections for over 1 million tractor trailers and growing yearly per VDOT statistics that utilize this section of Route 17. And they're bypassing I-81 that has the enormous working weigh station for inspection. Route 17 has become a major cut-through for tractor trailers to deliver all cargo to the massively $1 billion growth of the ports of Virginia to the inland marine port on I-66 in Front Royal, Virginia, and back, plus other travel delivery points beyond those locations. The only tractor trailer inspections being conducted is by the State Police Mobile Inspection Team and the Sheriff's Department Commercial Motor Vehicle Inspection Team. However, both teams are greatly impacted by not enough manpower from my constant communications and meetings with them. Per data I actually collected from State Trooper Ron Max, who just spoke in the past, when he was working that capacity. Data showed that the number one most common faulty issue is brakes, faulty brakes. And here on Route 17, we have a tremendous amount of speeding that is out of control. Per VDOT data, we have about 7.8 million vehicles, roughly over 1 million tractor trailers, and 4.8 million of them are speeding at 60 miles per hour or greater in a 55 mile per hour zone. So if you combine that with a very bad road design has never been properly addressed by VDOT, despite years since 2004 trying to get this road better under control, it's very dangerous. So my concern here is I'm not 100% sure this bill is completely good for our section of Route 17 in terms of tractor trailer inspection exemptions. I did try contacting the delegate's office yesterday. Unfortunately, I didn't get any return call or email. So I'm erring on the side of high concern, and is why I'm speaking up today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir, please.
If this bill passed, it will increase those inspections. And we all know about the stretch of 17 that's extremely unsafe, and I know VDOT is doing everything they can. So I don't know about the specific one, but I'll be glad to work with that individual. I don't recall any message or any email, but I'll work with him, and I'll make sure that Captain Maxey reaches out and we work with that individual to try to
Thank you.
Work with some of the issues that may be apparent in that area.
All right, going back to the body here. What is the will of the body?
Move to report.
Motion is second. Please go to the voter board. Delegate Bagby.
Aye.
Okay, report's out 7-0. Thank you, Delegate Wyatt. You have another bill right behind it, HB 1620.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And HB 6020 is a bill that requests a DMV. This bill, if passed, protects the privacy of persons' name and personal information that may be documented on a crash report that is now accessed by a third party or the person that takes ownership of the vehicle after the crash at a later date. Purchasers would no longer be able to obtain those crash reports. They can get the information from Carfax. And it does contain a lot of personal information, like the number of violations the individual has had. It protects the privacy of citizens of the Commonwealth who now their vehicle is being owned by I use the word third party, but a person that may have purchased the car after a crash.
Okay, questions for the patron? Okay, anybody in the audience who wants to speak for or against? Anybody virtual? Okay, it comes back to the body for direction.
Move to report.
Second.
Motion is second, report. Please vote on the voter board. Delegate Bagby.
Aye.
Okay, report's out 7-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, real quick, for HB 1747, Delegate Willits asked for this bill to go by for the day. I do need a voice vote on that.
So moved.
I have a second? Do I have a second for go by for the day? Second. All those in favor of going by for the day, say aye. Aye. Delegate Bagby.
Aye.
Okay, thanks for going by for the day. Delegate Sickles, thank you for your patience. HB 2254. You have the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members of the committee. This bill was brought to me, simple bill, brought to me by a constituent. We have a fee to help pay for our road maintenance on fuel-efficient cars, and that fee is collected at the time of vehicle registration. My constituent had a car that she was assessed this fee on, but the EPA the EPA rating on the car, which is what the DMV goes by, does not put this particular car in the category. So it's just a factual dispute. But when she called DMV to get relief on that, they said that we don't have a process for appeal. We don't have any process at all. If you get charged a lot, more than they're supposed to, we have no way to adjudicate whether you're right or wrong. So pay the fee. So that all this does is, on line 38, says the department shall establish and administer a process whereby a vehicle owner may contest the fee assessed pursuant to this section. The department shall reimburse the vehicle owner for any contested fee or portion thereof incorrectly collected pursuant to the section. So all it does is give a way for people who feel they were wrongly assessed a fee, a way to contest it. That's simple.
Questions from the body, the patron? Anyone in the office would like to speak for or against? Anybody virtual?
I do have a question.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Got the box.
I was under the assumption that you could contest this from DMV.
If we could, yeah,
if we could have a little clarity on that.
Good morning.
Good morning, Linda Ford, Acting DMV Commissioner. Yes, we do have I would call it an informal process, but yes, if anybody writes to me or to any of our outlets, we will do an investigation, we will look into it, and we'll make an adjustment accordingly.
Thank you.
Follow-up question.
Continue.
So Ms. Ford, I guess my question is, would this formalize your informal process? Would that be a fair way to assess this bill, or is this going a different route?
That's a fair assessment.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Chairman Olson.
Yeah, Mrs. Ford and I have discussed this, and the patron understand his bill, but I do think, Mrs. Ford, if there is a process that we could formalize it, I think that's a better and a more favorable path forward. So I look favorable on the delegate's bill. So, Mr. Chairman, that's where I am with the legislation right now.
Okay. Any further discussion? What's the will of the body?
Move to report. Second.
Motion is second to report. Please vote on the vote board. Delegate Bagby. Reports out 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. It's a vote for transparency in government here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, last but not least, Delegate Bloxham.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There is a substitute.
Okay, we have a substitute we need to get moved. We have a motion to move substitute. Have a second. Second. All those in favor of moving the substitute say aye. Aye. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2304 is...
Clarify that substitute, I'm sorry. You could clarify that substitute as part of your discussion.
Well, the original bill removed all safety features from the safety course, which was not our intent. So the substitute between our great LIS staff working with the Motorcycle Safety Federation and DMV, State Police, they all came to this substitute. I think it does what we want. It actually modernizes the code where we don't have to teach motorcycle courses with sidecars. That provider, I think, went out of business, so it was not able to be done. It does bring up the Trek, the three-wheel motorcycles now, so it's more modernized. It actually follows the Motorcycle Safety Federation's requirements, which DMV was actually doing anyway, but it wasn't in code. So the use of it changed the proportion of drivers to instructors, the type of motorcycle that could be tested, just brought the code more into modernization, and really what DMV was doing anyway. The only real change, I guess, is in the summertime or any time you could use any helmet that is legal on the street of Virginia. The way the code was is that you had to have a three-quarter helmet before, and so we just brought it in line with what's legal on the streets today. And I think with that, if there are any questions, I can try to explain more of the substitute.
Okay. Any questions for the patron? Okay, I'm going to leave it open to the audience now. Anybody wants to speak to the matter For or against? You want me to get anybody, should I get the commissioner to come speak, or is that not necessary? Are we good? Please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman,
Good
sorry,
morning.
I don't want to get in front of the commissioner, but real quick, Susan Gaston on behalf of the Virginia Coalition of Motorcyclists. We've been working with Delegate Bloxham, with DMV. We want to thank Ms. Buck. She was instrumental in helping us get to this point. And as Delegate Bloxham stated, we had no intention of eliminating the actual safety measures that were now back in the bill. So I think there is truly peace in the valley, and this brings it to where it should have been for a while. So many thanks to all of you, and we obviously support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Caston. Anybody else? Anybody on the virtual world? Okay. What is the will of the body?
Move to report.
A motion to report. I need a second. Is this with the substitute, correct?
Yes.
A motion, a second by Chairman Austin. Okay, with the substitute. So if we can go to the voter board, please. And Delegate Bagby. Okay, reports out 7-0 with substitute. Thank you, Mr. Delegate Bloxham. Do I have any other business in front of us this morning? With that, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Have a great day. Thank you.